Welcome to the Inglorious Blasters podcast, the Star Wars Legion podcast talking anything and everything glorious or inglorious about the game. My name is Corey, and with me today are two chicken walkers I call friends, John and Brendan. How's it going, my dudes?
It's going great. I don't even know how to respond to these insults anymore. Just all the verbal abuse, I'm just immune to it at this point.
I mean, I can't refute that I might be one, because I do trip on logs.
Logs, like Endor, like Tempest Force, like ATSTs. Yes, I explained the joke, everyone. Welcome to the podcast.
I see what you're saying.
I'm out.
I'll see myself out.
We don't explain jokes around here.
Nope. I'm going to cut that. Maybe.
No.
This is an ATRT insult, I would assume.
I mean, from, StarWarsFandom.com wiki or whatever. It's rebel slang for an Imperial ATST walker.
So technically, ATSTs that we see on Endor are not chicken walkers. It's just the one we see on Hoth, just because it walks different. It walks more chickeny. I'll see myself out with my useless knowledge.
And this is why we won trivia at Adepticon. Because you know the minute details that no one else should know. Anyways, today on the podcast, let's see. We had a tournament at Gamers Corp. Brendan was hosting, and then I was the judge, but luckily I got to play. So we're going to go over some of our games over there. And then we got our Glorious versus Inglorious segment. We got the Landspeeder. So stick around. That should be awesome. And we're also going to be talking about Tempest Force. Tempest Force just came out. The rules came out. You can print it. You can play it. You can live all of your triple ATST dreams. We're gonna get all up in there. We're gonna talk about it all. So stick around. It should be fun. But before we begin the podcast, I would like to give a shout out to a couple of our sponsors. Check out baronofdice.com and check out a bunch of Star Wars Legion dice. He's got lots of pretty dice. He's got marbled sets. He's got clear sets. He's got the special faces for your faction. So there's even a symbol of Grievous. That one's kind of cool. He's got all the attack dice colors. He's got all the defense dice colors. And you know what? If you hate Legion, you could just buy some of his other dice. He's got a bunch of D6s for every other game under the sun. So check him out. Use checkout code Glorious for a little discount. Brendan, tell us all about our 3D printing needs.
Yeah, Panhandle 3D for all your 3D printing needs. You don't have a 3D printer. You really like the look of 3D printed terrain. The Panhandle 3D is your guy. Can print terrain for multiple game systems. Find the stuff you want and ask him to print it. And use the code Glorious for a 15% off discount. The prints turn out great, and you don't have to worry about figuring out how to use a 3D printer.
Awesome. Thank you. John, our newest sponsor, Dice Must Flow. What do they got going on over there?
Yeah, the Dice Must Flow, our newest sponsor, but you've seen the dice trays for probably the last year now. They are pretty amazing, especially the new red ones that we've been giving out since ACO. The red honestly looks awesome. I'm not sure why I didn't have them made in red originally, but I went with blue. So I don't know. They might be just red going forward until we get rid of all the blue ones that I had made. So you might
because like our show logo is like red and white, so that's probably why it looks better.
Yeah, the white really pops on the red, but either way, the blue ones look good too. So not to discount that, but yeah. So the Dice Must Flow. He can pretty much put anything you want on the dice tray. So if you check out the website, he's offering a 15% off discount using coupon code IG Blasters, all uppercase. He's got 40K dice trays, D&D dice trays, Marvel dice trays, and like I said, can pretty much put anything you want on a dice tray. So if you have something special that you'd like on a dice tray, they can do it over there. So check it out.
Sweet. Alrighty, so we also have some upcoming tournaments that we want to highlight. Of course, we've been talking about it. It's Crucible. You go to Florida, you play some Legion, you go to Disney. You get it. You buy a bunch of lightsabers and build a bunch of droids. It's going to be a fun time. John's going. He doesn't know what he's bringing, but it's definitely Republic. That's September 29th. Go have fun, everyone. And then we got St. Lawrence Open. Brendan, you want to tell us more about that one? That's a relatively new one.
Yeah, we've been asked by Eric, who is running the St. Lawrence Open 2023. This is he gave us a script. I'll just read that. If you want to take part in a world qualifier tournament and get it out of your way, come to Montreal on October 21st and 22nd, 2023. The St. Lawrence Open is a world qualifier tournament of 64 participants over 2 days, which all players will play 6 games, no elimination. The event will be held in English and French at the Abyss Game Store. The venue has a full bar and kitchen. Visit the website for details and to view discounts from hotels and airlines. This is a regional event, so, it meets all the requirements to get the cool alternate art cards for a regional officially announced for AMG in Montreal, Canada.
Sweet 6 games. That's awesome.
Yeah,
nice. Can't beat that. Alrighty, and then I'm gonna highlight my local tournament, Critical Hit. It is August 19th. It is in Abington, Maryland. So it is not a world qualifier, but if you want to come practice for Nova, it's a good chance. We have 14 spots available. You can sign up on Eventbrite ahead of time, or you can show up the day of. And yeah, just come. Let's have a good time. Roll some dice. Alrighty. So how about we get into Gamers Corp tournament? Brendan, you want to give like a quick rundown of like the day or your day?
Yeah. So Gamers Corp, we opened it up to be a 16-person event for a World's Invite on the line, and we ended up having 7 people and Corey show up to be our judge. So Corey then got to play, and we luckily had getting a little ahead of myself. We did find somebody who was willing to judge just in case Corey and I ended up paired against each other per the rules. Yep. We had to have another person just in case that happened. So we ended up with 8 people. Running joke of the day was congratulating everybody on making top 8. So we all got cool cards. It was great.
Yay.
So the list I ran, I named the list Pierce It. You'll get the feeling why in a moment. I had Agent Callus with Underworld connections and his bow rifle. IG-88 with Hunter and targeting scopes. Bosk with Hunter and targeting scopes. A Shore Trooper with Del Mico and an R4. A Shore Trooper T-21. 2 mortars. Stormtrooper HH-12 Specialist Recon Intel. And 3 Sniper Strike teams. So, yes, a lot of Pierce.
Yep.
And that list is 795 points. And for my first game of the day, I ended up against Steve, and he was our only Rebel player that day. We did, with 8 people, we had every faction represented. It was amazing. We had Empire, we had Republic, we had Rebels, we had Shadow Collective, and we had Separatist. So that was great to see.
Yeah.
The list Steve was playing was just high level. He called it Fuzzy Kittens. It was Han, IG-11, Chewbacca, Rebel Vets, a Mark II, Pikes, Fleet Troopers, 2 Tauntauns, and a Landspeeder. So this list was kind of all over the place. Long story short, his list died real fast because I had just a lot more firepower at range and a lot of Pierce. He did pretty much what I expected and put IG-11 in the Landspeeder. And I decided to shoot IG-11 out of the Landspeeder instead of shooting the Landspeeder. And so IG was dead by the start of turn 2. And, then everything else was dying. Yeah, so it was overall a great game. We had a lot of fun. Trying to remember what objectives we played. Let's see. It was key positions on rollout and fortified positions. So there was a lot of cover. But yeah, we ended it 4-1 and called it a concession. So It was a fun time. Corey, how was your first game and what were you playing?
Well, I will tell you my list name first. It is Black Sun Enforcer and Diet Black Sun Enforcer Ride or Die. So I'm playing a CIS Separatist list. So after our Glorious versus Inglorious segment last episode, I wanted to show these fools the power of the mighty B2. So this is what I took. I took a generic super tack with underworld connections. I took 3 Black Sun Enforcers. They all had mag nuts. They all had the Vigo. They all had the recon intel, and 2 of them had frag grenades. I couldn't fit the other one with frags because this list is like very, very corpse or core heavy, like just expensive all around. And then I had 3 B2s. 2 of them had the hats, so the B2HA, a trooper with the T-Series tactical droid, and then I had 1 B2 with the ACM, so that's just a range 1 to 2 gun. And to top it all off, I had a snail tank. Snail tank had defense protocols and armor-piercing shells. Woo! 8 activations. I'm just gonna go get up in there. Gonna roll some dice, do some damage, hopefully. Bring a ton of impact as well. And let's see. So the first game I played against Manny. Manny is a listener of the show, and I believe he's now collected all of the blasters in the sense that he got to play against all of us now. So there you go. I think we need to make a special medal for that or a sticker. We'll figure it out. So anyways, we landed on, for objectives, intercept the transmissions, major offensive, and limited visibility. Manny is running a Shadow Collective list with a bus. Just going off the top of my memory, he had like a bus, a bunch of Black Sun Enforcers, Bosk, and a naked Pike Squad. And then a Vigo commander as well. So I think we were both 8 acts.
He's at 9.
He's at 9? Okay, perfect.
He's got 1 Pike in there.
Yeah, just the 1 naked Pike. Yep, that was just like his objective grabber. So anyways, this was actually kind of funny because both of our lists wanted to do similar things. His Black Sun Enforcers had the scatter gun, right? So he had the pierce, and he's better at shooting me technically at range 2. So effectively what happened is he moved his bus up to the middle, and my B2s were able to unload on them. And then one of he had 1 Magdet squad. It hops out of the bus, gets behind a line of sight blocker. One of my Magdet squads hops over cover to just like annihilate that squad. Just like flat out, like I think I got him to one remaining model in that squad of his. And I was like, well, that was good for me. But anyways, it just goes from there. And we were playing limited viz too. And so Bosk didn't get any shots until like turn 2. So that was pretty nice. Basically the bus went down, and then systematically each of the his Black Sun Enforcers went down. The snail tank did some work there, just shooting. It was good. Ended up taking that one. Yeah, it was fun. We laughed at all the dice rolls. It was great. They roll way too many dice. All right, Brendan, how'd your game 2 go?
Game 2 was very interesting. Probably one of the both most fun and stupidest games I've ever played. Because I ended up playing Corey.
Bum bum bum. I threw it over to you, fully well knowing.
Yep.
That you were fighting me. Yep.
Yep. That was, again, such a crazy game.
It was fun. It was very back and forth. It was fun.
Yeah, so we ended up playing clear conditions, roll out, and intercept the transmissions. And it got so stupid. We had units that had no business being in melee with each other in the middle. Not to mention, it got so confusing to keep track of who was in what multiple melee versus who was in what other multiple melee.
Yeah, there was at least 3 melees going on. Yeah, it was nuts.
I took one picture of how dumb the melee got. But that picture is still tough to tell how dumb that actually is. Meanwhile, the snail tank's just kind of sitting there, wishing it could run everybody over.
Yeah. The snail tank's like, but they're right there, and I can't do anything about it.
So This game ends up going to 5-5 tie, and it comes to kill points. And I win on kill points by about 60 points.
Yeah, so... All right, so Brendan's missing a key part of this.
Oh, what did I forget?
Yeah. Well, your awful rolls on IG,
Oh.
and then your amazing god rolls on like white dice snipers. Like, get out of here.
Yes. So my red saves just didn't exist this game.
They were just garbage.
But my scouts just kept saving.
Yeah, I didn't
so
understand
dumb.
it. So I think it was turn 2. It's turn 2, near the end of turn 2 or the top of, or whatever, turn 2 or turn 3. I moved my snail tank up with...
It was turn 2.
Okay, it was turn 2. Move my snail tank up with B2s in it, the range 2 ones. And my snail tank moves up and takes an armor-piercing shot at IG. And I think you were in maybe light or none.
Oh, the IG shot was turn 3. Because turn 2,
Okay.
you shot my stormtroopers who didn't
That's
say
right.
anything.
And I was like, sure, I'll shoot at IG, and then I've got the impact on this. So, like, why not? That dude took 4 wounds right then and there. I was like, who? I thought he was going to save it, like, more than that. And then he goes with IG, moves backwards, and shoots, I believe. And then I basically have one more shot to, like, try and kill him before he heals him for, like, 3.
Yep.
Because that Del Mico squad plus a repair bot, right?
Yeah.
So the B2, gets out. It has no other AI, targets to shoot. Gets out, and then like IG lives, and I was like, God darn it. And then IG lives the rest of the game. I'm like, well, there goes that chance. Oh well.
Yeah,
But it was a fun game.
Ended the
It was
game
good.
at full health by the
He
time
did.
we were
Yep.
done.
I was like, I'm not shooting him again. I was like, I give up. It was fun though. Good game.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. So I end up in the finals because with 8 people, we only needed to play 3 rounds, which was great. So before we talk about that game, Corey, you want to talk about your last game?
Yeah, let's do it. So I ended up playing Patrick. So Patrick is running a clone list. What was he running? He was running Anakin, a bunch of clones. He was 8X. He was running Boyle with inside an RPS. I think he had 2 full ARC squads as well. And then like a phase 2 Z6.
Yep.
I might be... and then the Echo squad. Okay. We played the cagiest game of key positions, major offensive, and war weary I have ever played in my entire life. The way it worked out is we had big line of sight blocking buildings on my side of the board, and it was hiding my KP very well. And then the center KP was kind of exposed, so if I wanted to approach him, I would just eat a ton of clone shots and fire supports, and it would not be great for me. And I don't think I win that exchange if I go in early. So basically we just turtled up. It was pretty ridiculous. So then all the action happened the end of turn 5 and all of turn 6. But he clinched it out. He got 2-1. My snail tank moved on top of the center KP, but Anakin was able to force push one of those dudes off and then jump back to his own KP to go help secure that one. Overall, it was a fun game, we sped through turns 1 through 3, 1 through 4 pretty quickly, and while just shooting the breeze. It was a lot of fun. It was a fun game.
Nice.
How about your last game, Brendan? Tell us.
Yeah, while Corey was having fun, I was sweating. I ended up playing Sam, and we played key positions, rollout, and clear conditions. And when I say Sam's list is maybe the least favorite list I have ever seen, I'm not exaggerating. Sam, you're great. I like you a lot, but I hated this list. And that's just because nothing would die. So he was playing Anakin with force push, force barrier, and offensive/defensive stance. Pike Syndicate Capo, Padme, Phase 1 with Boyle, 2 Pikes with the Disruptor and Capo, Phase 1 with the Z6, Clone Captain and Situational Awareness, and a Phase 1 with the DC-15 Clone Captain and Situational Awareness, and an Echo Strike Team.
Ooh, the situational awareness on that is on those two is gross. Like, so you're getting extra pikes that you can kind of equate it to that.
Pretty much. And he's got dodges everywhere. He's got barrier to deal with some of my high velocity shenanigans. Plus he's got boil to deal with some of my high velocity shenanigans. So things just wouldn't die. And so we end up tied, but I lose on kill points because things just wouldn't die. Looking back on it, things I learned from this game, I definitely out-activated him. So I probably could have been a lot more cagey. I was a little too aggressive. You know, he was a 9-act list. I was an 11-act list. I probably could have just sat back and waited till turn 6 and just rushed the middle and won.
Yeah, that's KP for you.
Yeah. Yep. But I tried to do things. I will say I got close to killing Anakin with IG-88. It got real close. There was one point where I'd flawed Anakin, so I knew Ploy was coming. So I played Callus's 1-pip, so I made sure I went first, and then I trusted in the heart of the cards. And I was able to pull IG-88 before Anakin could come in. And I'd already played IG's 1-pip, so I knew IG wasn't going anywhere. He was going to be sticking around. But I wanted to make sure he could, do a nice big shoot. So I move with IG and I take a shot. He's got no aim. Anakin can't use any defensive tech because he can't use barrier on himself and he can't use his dodges. And IG comes around the corner. I roll the 6 dice and I get the 6 hits.
Excellent.
And Anakin takes 3 wounds on the defense roll. I couldn't have asked for much better. By the end of the game, Anakin, I think, had 2 health left, so IG was real close in killing him. I unfortunately did not collect any of my bounties. But I tried.
Yeah.
Overall, it was a good game, but yeah, I definitely was more aggressive than I should have been.
A+ effort. I hate clones.
I like that list. Yep. I actually just added it to my my phone, like a section in my phone where I put all of these lists that I.
Oh man,
things like Boyle's squad I think was down to just Boyle, and he just hid in the back, and that was just from guarding shots.
That's all you do with Boyle. You just boil until like you can't take any more.
Right.
And you're like, oh, well, you look at the time. Gotta go.
Right. And all Boyle's actions otherwise were just aim and dodge.
Yep.
And then he's just passing those out.
Yep. Boyle is really, really dumb.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Oh. But yeah, the captains with the situational awareness, that list just doesn't die.
Yeah. Valiant effort.
So we did say before the tournament started, Game Uplink might change who's in what place, but we said whoever made the top table, it's second place. So I was second place, although Game Uplink says I was in third. So hooray.
Yay, Brendan.
Good job, Brendan.
It's all Corey's fault for losing his third game.
Yeah, it was a great time, good store. Had a lot of fun. Definitely would gladly go back. Alrighty. How about we get to our Glorious versus Inglorious segments? So for those of you that don't know how this segment works, basically one person takes the side of Glorious, meaning the unit is great and they're going to argue points for that. And then the other person takes the side of they're Inglorious, meaning they are bad and they are terrible and no one should take them. So they're going to argue points for that. And then hopefully we have an impartial judge to decide at the end for all of the Legion community what the correct answer is. So today we got the Landspeeder. Before I get ahead of myself, Brendan, would you like to give the stats of the Landspeeder to let the audience know again?
Yes, so it's the X-34 Landspeeder, so we all know it's part of the X-Men. It is a heavy unit for the Rebellion, and it's a repulsor vehicle that is currently 60 points. It has 6 health and a resilience of 4. It surges on offense and surges on defense with white defense dice. It's speed 2. Its only native weapon is a blaster pistol that the driver's wielding very recklessly, driving and shooting at the same time. It's just not safe. 1 to 2 with 2 white dice. It has the keywords Armor 2, Arsenal 3, Cover 1, Light Transport 1 open. So just a reminder that Light Transport 1 means it can only take 1 unit, and it can only be a single model unit. And Speeder 1, so it ignores Height 1 terrain, and it has to compulsory move because it's a speeder. It can take 5 upgrades. 1 is a pilot upgrade, 2 are personnel upgrades, 1's a hardpoint upgrade, and it can take a comms upgrade. The personnel upgrades it can choose from are the A300 rifle gunner. It's a gun that shoots 1 to 3 with 2 white. The RPS-6 rocket gunner, which is range 2 to 4, and it's a red, black, and a white with impact 2. The A300 rifle is a whole 1 point now. The rocket gunner is 21 points. You can take a refurbished Gonk droid to give it shielded 2, and it can earn back shields by rolling some dice and seeing what your luck is for 14 points. And you can take the unstable R5 astromech to, at the end of your activation, perform an attack or move, then roll 3 black attack dice and suffer 1 wound for each hit or crit result. That's a one-time use for 6 points. And then there are 5 pilots it can choose from. The Hotshot pilot that gives Sharpshooter 1 for 8 points. The Outer Rim Speed Jockey that gives Cover 1 for 10 points. Rider Azadi that is a tappable upgrade that when you're performing you can increase or decrease your speed by 1. Shriv, who can be a field commander for you and gives you the free action to choose a friendly trooper unit you are transporting, or at range 1 to 2 it gains a dodge. And Shriv is 10 points, Rider was 5 points, and Wedge is 5 points. He is tappable too, and you gain field commander and you get the free action to perform a pivot. And the hardpoint upgrades that are unique to this are the Mark II medium blaster for 21 points, range 1 to 3, 4 black, fixed front, and the M45 ion blaster, range 1 to 4, 1 black, 4 white, exhausts, fixed front, impact 1, ion 1 for 25 points. And then there's a bunch of comms upgrades that are just generic you can put on there.
Ooh, quite the exhaustive list.
There's a lot that this thing has
of stuff. You can run it lean and mean, or you can run it bloated.
Yep.
Bloated with stuff. So just to remind everyone, I don't think I said it, but Brendan is going to be taking the side of Glorious, and then John is going to be taking the side of Inglorious. And I'll be the judge for today. I think I want to hear from John first. Why is it Inglorious?
Thank you. I appreciate the ability to go first and talk about all the negatives about this thing. It is actually crazy. I'll give Brendan a little bit of an advantage here and say I always start by writing out all the pros and cons, and I just wrote flexible under the pros because there is a ridiculous amount of ways to set this thing up. So dissimilar to anything else we've argued, it's almost difficult to choose a path because it's I don't know, which way are we going with this conversation? So it is definitely flexible. You can run it a multitude of different ways. So
John, before you continue, I think we can all agree it's the closest thing to a Swiss Army knife of any unit in the game.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah. Yep.
So we should probably say disclaimer, we're probably not going to hit every single which way, and there's going to be all kinds of different niches and corner cases that you can use the thing for. So we'll probably hit on the most common.
If we don't mention it, please let us know how you use it and if it's effective. So you can email us, you can hit us up on the Discord. Just reach out to us. Okay, there you go. Sorry, John, go ahead.
Yeah. All right. So either way you're going to use it, it still sucks. because it is...
Oh, strong words.
Try to keep emotion out of this. So let's just get to the hard facts here. The thing is Armor 2. I haven't played against one in a little while. I actually thought it was full armor. So when I was reading through the card and realized it was Armor 2, I was just like, man, this thing sucks. But, so Armor 2, which dice pools are obviously getting much larger since this thing released. So Armor 2 used to be fairly decent when combined with the cover 1. But when you see all these 10 die pools, 11 die pools, I mean, it's pretty common for things to be in the 7+ range. So having Armor 2 at the cover 1 isn't as crazy as it once was. And then critical is much more common than when this thing came out. So getting past the armor, you can kind of skirt around it there. And then just the meta that we're in currently, the prevalence of impact just to fight Dark Troopers, and now with Tempest Force, that is probably going to be the other big bad that's going to be running around, which we're going to get into later. Impact's just going to continue to rise. So chewing through that armor and getting to those white defensive saves is going to be easier than ever. Second point, I mean, it's in a Rebel list, so Rebel lists that are competitive these days are a lot of Hero Hammer lists, so they're very hero focused. So it's going to lack order control unless you put HQ uplink on it, so it just makes it even more expensive by adding that 10-point cost, or it's not going to have an order because those orders are going to be on your heroes or your other focus pieces. And then it's from an attack profile standpoint, it's pretty so-so. So if you load it up with the RPS, the Mark II, and then that A300 gunner, it takes it from 60 points to 103 points, and that's before you get to the plethora of different other options. With that, you're going to roll 1 red, 5 black, 3 whites, which on average is 5.1 hits. So pretty much everything's in heavy cover these days, so you're going to push 3 hits past heavy cover. The most common, good competitive lists these days are Empire and Gar. So 3 hits past heavy cover, you're going to do 1.5 wounds into Empire, probably 1 wound into Gar because the shareable surges. So it's pretty lackluster. You're also going to then be in range 3 of their entire army and just get completely decimated. So between the lack of order control, the so-so attack pool, and really not too defensible in this meta, and just the fact that it's Armor 2, it's not crazy on the defensive side either. And then you put yourself in that range 3 threat range of your opponent's pretty much entire army to get there. So I just see it as being pretty inglorious these days, especially in this meta. I think this meta is not doing it any favors for sure. So I will start off my argument there with those 3 points and give Brendan a chance to... I can't.
Brendan's got a sour face. He has disgust.
He's just trying to throw me off. I'm just looking away.
I am truly disgusted that you think that the X-34 Landspeeder, the most famous of the X-Men, is not fit for this meta. Okay,
X gonna give it to you. Okay,
exactly. Look, if you learn how to pilot this thing well, and granted, that will take some practice. I fully understand that. For 114 points, you can give this thing the rocket gunner, the ion blaster, and a hotshot pilot. And you could use this thing as a gun platform kiting from range 4. You could do your compulsory move, take a range 4 shot with sharpshooter 1, and then do another move to move out of range of things to shoot you. That's got an Impact 3 and Ion 1 shot. That is great against all the other armor you're going to face right now. Plus the sharpshooter to deal with anything if there is. I mean, that is, you're throwing 8 dice at range 4. That's nothing to be, ashamed of. I mean, that's a lot of dice at that range. Nothing else throws that much dice at range 4, other than maybe Pathfinders. But So that's one way you could run it. I've never seen it run that way, but I think that's a completely viable option. You know, and you can run 2 of these for 114 points each, and that's an answer to a lot of armor problems with Impact 3 and Ion 2. You know, that's Impact 6, Ion 2 across 2 vehicles that can shoot at range 4 and duck away. So you can definitely play it that way. You know, you can add the Outer Rim Speed Jockey, give it cover 2. It gives it a little bit extra survivability. Plus the fact that you can also give it the Gonk Droid to give it shields. That's a potential extra 2 health per turn if your dice like you. So
I like the way you put that.
And then, again, this thing is a great gun platform, so much so that, hey, maybe you know it's going to die soon, but you've got the unstable R5 Astromech on there, and you can just go, all right, I'll compulsory, I'll shoot you, recover, use this, shoot you again.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
This thing can throw out crazy amounts of attacks when needed for a 6-point upgrade. Granted, it might die in a burst of flames in the process, but I think that's worth the 6 points to probably take something else down in the process. And then the last thing you didn't even talk about at all. This is a transport. The scariest game I have ever had against Landspeeders was a double Landspeeder Lando Han list. And they're both in the Landspeeders. And they're just coming through my lines, gunning everything down with their Pierce. They just love sitting in that thing and shooting everything.
Yep.
The game I just played at Gamerscourt, that was IG-11 in there. It's mobile cover for a unit that doesn't want to move and just shoot things. It works out perfectly. If you have issues with mobility for any of your characters, you can give them heavy cover that moves with them, and then they can just shoot from it. It's pretty great in that regard. And then that's not even including the crazy shenanigans that nobody has seen in a while, but the turn 1 Sabine explosions play.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
you can put Sabine in the Landspeeder, do the moves necessary with the Landspeeder, get her up close, and then she just throws the bombs out and blows up your opponent's army. I mean, there's so much versatility with this unit. You can play it how you need it. You can, if you just have the points in your army, you don't even necessarily have to have a purpose for it in your army. It can do what you want. It's better if it has a purpose. But again, this is the Swiss Army knife of units. This is the build it how you want, and it will do what you want it to. I can't say that for any other unit in the game. Everything else has what it's good at, and maybe a secondary thing it's okay at. This thing can do so much.
Whew. You got anything else?
X gonna give it to you.
Thank you. Yeah. I'll offer one last chance for John to refute anything.
I don't.
But that was pretty strong.
Yeah,
so.
I don't know. The transport thing, honestly, it doesn't. It wasn't on my. It was on my radar, but didn't seem worthy enough to even add into my argument of concerns. Like, for me, Han is more scary behind a building, popping out, shooting me, and then popping back behind the building with steady, than he is, basically just kamikazing into the center of my army, and then it's like, oh, you're just going to sit here and let me pop you out of this Landspeeder?
Well, great. The Landspeeder drops him off at the end of turn 1 in a spot where he can do that. You don't have to fear the approach for 3 turns.
Which is
He's already there.
But is that worth the 60 points to do that? You're saying you're just paying the 60 points for the Landspeeder solely to drop him off? I don't know how the time. So with Sabine, like you would essentially have to give it HQ uplink, right? Because you'd play explosions, so it'd be a 1 pip. You'd only have the order on Sabine, so you'd have to pop an HQ uplink to get the order on the Landspeeder. Play the Landspeeder, drive it out there. Your opponent would go, then you'd go with Sabine, or how would that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like. A lot of the things,
I can't remember the exact way that it works best. It probably works best as a turn 2 thing. But you can do it as a turn 1 if you don't care about getting Sabine out of the way.
I guess a lot of them, like,
and if you
they
throw
sound,
Ryder Azadi
they
on
sound
there,
good and easy in theory.
But
I guess my point is, in actual practice, when you go to play, it's like, there's a lot of things that sound good. Like, oh yeah, you just drive it up, but then it's like, wait a second, like, you play explosions, but only Sabine gets the order, but then now I got to pay an extra 10 points for HQ uplink, so now the 60 points is really 70 points. And then
it's the Rebels. Most of their stuff is cheap other than their heroes. You have 10 points to spare.
But then it becomes a whole,
it's a
like,
60-point heavy.
But Sabine is also so fast, and with jump, like, do you really need the Landspeeder to get her where she needs to go?
If you want to take somebody by surprise turn 1, yeah.
But then
she's not pulling that off on her own turn 1.
But you now have a 200-point Sabine.
Yeah. And she just blew up half the other person's army and suppressed it to death.
I don't know if I've ever seen an explosions be that oppressive to pay 200 points.
So I think it depends, right? So if you can get Sabine into a position where, like, she's relatively safe from, like, the army, at the end of turn 1 or the end of turn 2, whatever, right? I feel like that's fairly worth, like, it, because the main bulk of their army should be, like, still all clumped right there. Ideally, it is like the perfect case scenario. So it's not going to work every time.
No,
maybe you don't use this trick every time. I think what Brendan is saying is you have the possibility of this trick.
Mm-hmm. It's there if you want to.
I'm going to tell you guys, well, I don't want to argue for anyone, but none of you brought it up, so I'm going to bring it up. R2 in the Landspeeder, and if you add Shriv, is, like, actually disgusting.
Yes.
Because Shriv, he gives a dodge and a suppression token. So you can slap that on R2 while he's inside the Landspeeder. So basically, R2 is just going to zoom right into the end zone, right, for that secret mission. But do you do that every single time, every single game? No. The option's there, though. Let's pretend you're playing Disarray. Like your opponent has Disarray in their deck or something. You now suddenly have, like, an extra victory point. You're playing Battle Lines. You throw the Landspeeder over there, and you go throw R2, score a point, and then the Landspeeder comes back and maybe does something for your army. Yeah, again, I don't want to argue for Brendan, but it's super versatile.
That seems worth, like, 100 points.
Yeah. None of you brought it up. I'm ashamed of you guys.
Hey, look. Another crazy thing you can do with the Landspeeder. Who is everybody's favorite rebel right now?
Cassian,
K2?
Cassian.
Yeah.
Cassian can't use his sniper rifle and move. Guess what? If he's in a Landspeeder, he can move. He can be in the Landspeeder and use his sniper rifle.
I don't know if Cassian's going to be sitting in the Landspeeder.
No, but he can. And then you could have K2 in a second one. They're still doing teamwork next to each other. And then K2 can be the crit gun machine that he is from a Landspeeder.
Okay, so you're telling me you're building, like, a super alpha list where, like, you throw, like, 8 dice twice, 7 or 8 dice twice, right? Using the unstable astromech, and then you got K2, and then you got Cassian, right?
The Landspeeder is the Wild West of list building. You can do whatever you want with it.
All right, Brendan wins.
I was actually. Brendan was starting to kind of sway me one way, and then it kind of went off the rails.
That's what I do.
I was like, all right. And then I was like, okay, never mind.
Like, man, I think this is a sweet unit.
You lost me at 200 points, Sabine. Sabine in the lands.
Look.
It's an option. I'm not saying you have to do it that way.
Right. And that's where I think good players and bad players, like, there's a distinct line in the sand. Because you have this trick in your bag doesn't mean you have to use this trick every single time, right? Like, for example, like I was playing Blizzard Force at LVO, and I was against like a Separatist player, and he was used to playing Blizzard Force opponents that like ran their bikes all up, right? And then he had like scary BX units and a tank, and I was like, well, I definitely don't want to engage turn 1. I was like, I need to wait until turn 2. So after the game, he was like, you're the smartest Blizzard Force player I ever played against, right? And that's not me tooting my own horn, but he's just like, yeah, you didn't move your bikes to like go die turn 1. I was like, yeah, that seems really dumb. If Sabine can't move forward like with the Landspeeder turn 1 safely, then she probably shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Right. It's just a threat. It's there.
It's a threat. It's an experience. If you play it enough, you're going to know how far away you can do it from. So you wait a turn if you know you can't pull it off.
I didn't realize how much impact this thing has.
Yeah.
I really didn't. No one plays this thing. People should start experimenting with it. I fear that using it as a gun, like for your main source of impact, is bad, and I feel like the FD turret does it better and safer. But if you want to like throw some characters in there, like hell yeah, ride or die.
I do not think now is the time to experiment with it, personally.
I don't
know. If not now, when?
Yeah, I agree with Brendan. Right. If not now, when? I will say this. You have to be really, really good with this.
A lot of Rebel pundits have been complaining that their faction doesn't have enough impact for the current armor meta from range. This thing has the most impact at range of any of their units.
I will agree with what you had just said, Corey. I do think this is a high skill cap unit. Like I think to be able 100%. To do kind of like what you're saying, like the get in, take the shot, get out, like that is not like a very easy skill to master. No. As like a
I would argue this thing is probably harder to master than a Force user. Probably the only thing harder to master than this would be the Fluttercraft.
I was gonna say it's probably Fluttercraft at the very highest, and then this for sure. Same exact feeling. Oh man, like yeah, I'll say it again. I'll give it to Brendan. You hit all the high points. Like
you just made your judgment like that. You didn't even lead up to.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's good. I like this thing.
Ridiculous.
It's 60 points. Pew, pew, pew. You get to do whatever you want with it. How glorious is that? You like live whatever Legion dream you want with this thing.
X gonna give it to you.
I think it will die, but hopefully it does.
What in the Rebel faction doesn't?
Exactly. Hopefully it does the thing that you want it to first before it dies. I dig it. I like it. I'm sorry, John.
It's all right. It's all right.
Brendan got me with the unstable astromech to shoot twice and then move away. That's good. That's good. I dig it.
Die.
Well, great job, gentlemen. Thank you for arguing. I always appreciate it, and thanks for letting me judge this time. I'm tired of getting my beatings.
I can't remember the last time Inglorious won. That's been a while.
That is true. Right. Yeah. It has been a while. I can't even remember the last one that was.
Has anything won for that? To the records, Corey, for next episode.
Yeah, I'll look at it later. Or future editing Corey insert here. So, if you think our judgment is wrong, please tell us. We want to hear about it.
It's not wrong.
It's definitely not wrong. It might be a hot take, but it's definitely not wrong. So if you wanna just chit chat with us, join our Discord. The link is in the show notes. You can email us SWLingloriousblasters@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook. For Instagram, search at SWL Inglorious Blasters, and for Facebook, The Inglorious Blasters, a Star Wars Legion podcast. Please leave a rating and review on any platform of your choice. We're on Spotify, Apple, Google, YouTube, all those fun ones. Wherever the podcasts are, we're there. So if you can give us a rating and a review, that would really help us out. We appreciate it. That debate was a lot of fun. You know what else seems a lot of fun? Seems like a lot of fun?
ATSTs?
3 ATSTs. I love it. We're talking about the one, the only, the Tempest Force. Brendan, I'm hoping you can give us a quick rundown of what they do.
Yes. They kill Ewoks.
Okay.
And
You heard it here
souls.
That's right. If you thought if you thought Dark Troopers were bad, check out these guys.
No, so the Tempest Force battle force is an Empire battle force. It has a few special rules. Vehicles in the army gain Scout 2. Units not in a command range of a friendly commander unit do not have a comms upgrade equipped remove 1 less suppression during the remove token step. And during setup and at the start of the deploy unit step, you may set aside 1 friendly special forces or support unit, marking it with a condition token, and then you can, when you can't play anything on the table anymore, you can deploy it anywhere on the battlefield beyond range 2 of all enemy units if able. That unit's treated as activated, and its order token is placed face down. It's basically a free rapid reinforcements of a special forces or support unit. The allowable units are the Imperial Officer for your commander, Scout Troopers, but not strike teams for special forces, Stormtroopers for core, 74Z speeder bikes for support, and heavies are ATST and a new unit, Major Marquand. Unique upgrades allowed are none. The rank requirements for this army: commander, each army may include 1 to 2 commanders. Special forces must include 2 to 6 special forces. Core must include 1 to 3 core. Support may include up to 3 support units. And heavy, each army may include up to 3 heavy units. So that's where the 3 ATSTs comes in. The new unit, Major Marquand, is a heavy. He's an ATST.
He's basically an
special
ATST
rules.
with direct.
Yeah. He's an ATST. All the normal stuff that you would see on an ATST, except he has surge to hit natively. He has built in the twin light blaster and the grenade launcher, and both of those can be used in melee as well as at their ranges of 2 and 3 respectively. Additionally, he's a field commander. He's a special issue Tempest Force, so you can only use him in Tempest Force, and he has direct vehicle. He's 190 points. Tempest Force gets 3 new command cards for Major Marquand and 3 new command cards for Tempest Force.
Hot damn. Super good. Anyways.
All the command cards. Before we even go over these, I'm going to say there's one you don't take because you're taking pinned down. But so I'll go through the Major Marquand ones first. His 1 pip is Gunner Infantry. It only issues to Major Marquand. During his activation, Major Marquand reduces speed by 1 to a minimum of 1. He gains tactical, and his weapons gain suppressive. So basically, he can move, get an aim, and shoot, and give extra suppression. His 2 pip, Squad on Me, also only orders him. At the start of his activation, each other friendly vehicle unit at range 1 of him may perform a free pivot. Then they may make a speed 1 move. So that's a lot of free movements on vehicles. And then his 3 pip is Armored Cavalry. It's for 3 vehicles. When another friendly vehicle begins its activation at range 1 of Major Marquand, it may choose one of the following effects. If it's in his front arc, it may gain a dodge token. If it's in his side arc, it may gain an aim token. If it's in his rear arc, it may perform a speed 1 move. That's a lot of options and a lot of vehicles to give orders to. So that's his cards. The Tempest Force cards, the 1 pip is Drive Them Out. It gives to 1 vehicle. Friendly vehicles gain Demoralize 1 this round. This round, the first time a friendly vehicle with a face-up order token displaces an enemy unit during its activation, roll a white defense die for each miniature in the enemy unit. For every surge and block result, the enemy unit suffers a wound. So basically, this is a mix of the raiding party leader and the
Vader's Might.
No, the reckless driver.
Oh, right. Yep.
Yeah. So every vehicle gets demoralized 1, but only the first unit that has an order that displaces gets to give wounds from the displacing. The 2 pip, we need reinforcements, gives to 2 troopers. Friendly units that have a face-up order token gain disengage this round. Seems very situational. And then the 3 pip, constantly alert, gives to 3 units. When a unit is issued an order with this card, it gains 1 aim token for each enemy unit at range 1. If it did not gain any aim tokens, it gains a standby token. That's the scary card, in my opinion.
Yeah. So do you guys want to give some thoughts? Or because I actually got 2 games in with him. Ooh, that's right.
My initial thoughts are the following. Constantly alert is scary because you're giving ATST standbys, and there's no way to strip those. That's amazing. Armored cavalry, additionally, you can give out either extra dodges or aims or get some free moves. Very situational. Great. If you're great with your placement and when you play that, that's a huge card. All the rest, they're not terrible cards. I think they're great for the battle force if you're running, and if you're not running at least 2 ATSTs, I think you're doing it wrong. But I think we need reinforcements. You can leave that one at home and bring Pinned Down.
Pinned Down's really good here. Yeah.
For a reminder, Pinned Down issues to heavies or support, and any time units that are heavies or supports shoot a unit with a face-up order token, that order token gets put in the bag. So it destroys order control.
Oh, yeah. So I've been building lists like crazy. So you want to hear my fun list idea?
Yes.
All right. So it is 791, 8 activations, Major Marquand, ATST, and then 1 Stormtrooper with a R4 Astromech. And then you got 5 Scout Troopers with Sonic Charge Saboteurs.
Yes.
So basically you scout up the ATSTs, right? And the scouts follow right behind them as a mobile wall of line of sight blockers. And let's pretend you're playing key positions and you just throw all the bombs. Don't know if it's good, but it's a fun one.
Now, with a list like that, because I've thought about this list idea too, would you basically the free rapid reinforcements one of your bomb squads behind your enemy lines just to give them something extra to fear? It could be your suicide squad to run up there, throw a bomb in their lines, and then one of the other squads sets it off.
I don't hate it, right? Because then they have to deal with that while your other 4 scout troopers deal out the other bombs.
10 black dice at range 2 with sharpshooter. You can't ignore that unit.
Yeah. Yep. It's pretty gnarly. But anyways, like I was saying, I got 2 games of it in. I was super excited, so I printed it out, and then I played 1 game against one of my locals, Daryl. I played the triple ATST version. I had 1 Astromech and just 2 naked scouts for a total of 8 acts. And he was playing, basically what I think is the natural predator, which is any Gar list with impact and or Anakin. In that game, I had both the grenade launcher and the mortar, so the range 4 to infinite. And for that fun game, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go charge again, see what happens. The 3 ATSTs, they died at turn 5, but I was able to just put some massive wounds on everything, right? Man, Anakin Saber Throw is just way too good with fire support.
Yes.
it's just really, really good.
Nobody else has something like it.
Yeah, no. And then I played a game against John the other night. And basically the same thing happened, except I ran a different version. I ran Marquand 1 ATSC and then 3 speeder bikes on that one. And then I had 2 Astromechs. basically, he was just able to focus down one ST at a time, and John was running 501st with 2 barks, and they had the impact guns on it, so even more like impact and pierce to deal with, right? So I don't know. Is it good? Yes. Does it have really, really good natural predators? Yes. So I think the only way to, in my opinion, like truly defeat the high predators or have a fighting chance, obviously I need more reps, but I think one way to go about it is you need the flexibility. And if you're running triple ST, then you want your 2 STs to have the mortar, so you can throw 9 dice at range 4. Throwing 9 dice at range 4 while the GAR player's also ideally at 4 for a while is like probably your best bet. So like hopefully you can get some chip damage, but we all know it. They have tons of dodges and defensive tech, and it's really annoying. So good luck getting wounds on them. I don't know. This list is a ton of fun. I like throwing big armor on the table. It's a lot of fun. We'll see if it shakes up the meta a lot. I think everyone's going to bring a lot of impact to Nova. Let's just put it that way.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. John, you played against it. How do you feel? Like was it threatening?
I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. It was pretty much just like, okay, how do I set up an Anakin fire support and focus them down one at a time? And then once you focus them down, then it's pretty much, that's kind of end of story. But if you didn't have that tool in your bag, which no other army does, then it would be very oppressive. And you can rely very heavily on all of the shareable dodges and defensive tech and the red saves with the surges. And like the way that I look at it is like, okay, you're going to roll the 8 or 9 die depending on the pool. 2 are going to go away to heavy cover unless you're at range 2 with the blast gun. So if I'm rolling 6 saves, I'm only going to take 2 wounds because I'm going to save 3, and then one's going to be a surge. I'm going to spend a surge token. I'm going to take 2 wounds. I'm going to heal the guy back with the medic, and then I'm going to put 5 or 6 wounds on you with a saber throw fire supported. Like, so that's kind of like the trade. Yeah. Whereas nobody else is going to be able to do that. So like that is unique to a GAR list. And I think it's pretty much, we were talking a lot about, I go back and forth between barrier and saber throw, and now it's pretty much like, I think you have to take saber throw.
Now that this is a list, oh yeah. Like another archetype, you definitely
if you're playing
Anakin,
throw. Obviously, is what I'm referencing.
Right.
Like if you're an Anakin GAR player, like it's pretty much, before I was like 80-20 saber in favor of saber throw, and then before Dark Troopers I was like 75-25 in favor of barrier, and then Dark Troopers came out, and then I was like, I think you have to take saber throw, and now I'm like 100% saber throw.
Yeah, it's very valuable in both those matchups for sure.
Yep.
You're probably bound to encounter one in like a tournament that is like 6 rounds.
Yep.
Maybe even like also depending on your local scene, right? If they're vehicle heavy, then you're more than likely to see it.
Hey, and sort of off topic, but it just so happened that I was like, you know what? I'm going to play some Barks with RPSs tonight. And then you were playing Tempest Force. You know what?
The build I played against you had an 8-point bid, and I was like, sweet, I'm gonna like I have a disgusting like blue deck, and John's gonna have a bad time. Like it was the 3 speeders and 2 STs, right? My God, this fool threw a 9-point bid at me. And I was like, what are you doing? He was playing 501st with a 9-point bid. Congratulations. So I this is why I wanted to bring it up in the first place. I think you can build a fairly disgusting deck with Tempest Force. So knowing that, and Blizzard Force is like, I don't think Blizzard Force is dead. I still think Blizzard Force is good. They can also build a deck that is like pretty good, even though they got scaled back in terms of like bidding power. They could if they wanted to. I suspect bids might creep up. I might. If you really want to defend against like these like oppressive blue player decks, I think this is the way to do it. So I'll call it here first. I think bids are going to go back up. I don't know when, but it's probably going to be, I will say after Nova. Maybe PAX will have a dumb amount of players like bidding for blue. Anyways, my little prediction. I see Brendan cackling over there. What you got cooking for us?
Made the dumbest Tempest Force list I could think of.
All right, hit me with it.
10X 791. Officer, 3 Stormtrooper HH-12 specialists, and 6 scout troopers with sniper rifles, situational awareness, emergency transponders, and prepared supplies.
Ew, the prepared. So you're just playing just camp at range range 4, just shoot.
Oh, yeah. You move these guys up. They're scout 3. You get them to range 2. Okay. You throw in all those dice plus the Pierce 1 and the sharpshooter. They're just going to murder things.
I feared that they would die to like Black Sun Enforcers as soon as they hit range 2.
Well, if you run into a Black Sun list, then you're camping back.
That's all I'm getting at. You know what? That list has got versatility. See, John?
Yeah.
Versatility is glorious. That's good. I dig that one. There's a lot of fun stuff.
Just have to get 3 more boxes.
There's a list out there. I know. I ordered 2 more. There's a list out there that I built. Oh, here it is. So it's 11 act. You got the officer with lead by example, electro binocs, 3 stormtroopers with HH-12s, specialist, and then recon intel, so you can maybe get some range 4 shots immediately. 4 scouts with the sniper, and then 3 bikes. So you're good at objectives, and you have a 7-point bid. Hooray! Yeah, like I don't. There's like probably 3 builds that I'm interested in. That's like the more trooper focused, and then the triple ST, and then like 2 ST plus 3 bikes. I don't know. There's lots of fun ones that you can build. I think going back to the GAR talk, I think if you're running this, you definitely want snipers because high velocity is so good. In order to get through any shots, you need high velocity, and that pierce is like super valuable against GAR. So going forward, I think I at least want to add hopefully 2 snipers to any Tempest Force list I build.
You want to run 6?
I mean, 6 is like the best number, but who's got that cash?
People.
Yeah, people got it.
Well, and if the GAR players truly are switching to saber throw, I mean, that is, you're removing a little bit of their defensive tech against the high velocity, so it makes that list even more oppressive to a GAR list.
Yep, and then Boyle can't help you either if you get it right. If let's say you get 2 for some reason, Boyle can only Guardian 1 and then pierce the other. I don't think it'll happen, but either way, I hate Boyle. Boyle's so good. Any other final thoughts about Tempest Force, gentlemen?
No, it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out.
Yeah. I think that the best way to run it isn't 3 ATSDs.
It's a fun way,
but agree. That's probably the most fun way to run it. And I'll say that if you do run it into an ATSD version of it, the linchpin is Marquand. So if you can kill him, the list kind of starts falling apart.
Cool.
That works.
Yeah. I'm in love with Tempest Force. It's like awesome. I love vehicles. More vehicles, the better. Alrighty, that was a lot of fun. This show, man.
Woohoo!
Appreciate you guys.
More lightsabers, the better.
What was that, Brendan?
More lightsabers, the better.
I don't know. 3 chicken walkers is pretty good.
I'm just waiting for the Inquisitors at this point.
Look, Empire is already like pretty rich with stuff. Let some other people get some stuff.
Yeah, but I want red spinny blades.
All right, well, we're going to helicopter spinning blade on out of here. I'm Corey.
I'm John.
I'm Brendan. X going to give it to you.
Stay glorious, everyone.